Welcome to Dr. Fred Markets. This is not financial advice. While most people scroll past the noise, a few take the time to understand what's really going on. Finance, crypto, artificial intelligence, this is where it all connects. You made the right choice being here. Let's dive in.
Retirement is now a knife fight, and boring bonds just lost. Iran just told the Wall Street Journal they expect a $40 billion windfall from reopening the Strait of Hormuz with Gulf states. That's not just oil money. That's an instant steroid shot into shipping lanes that move about 20% of the world's crude and huge chunks of global trade. At the same time, shipping freight indices quietly lit up this year. The Baltic Dry Index ripped from under 1,000 in January to over 2,300 recently, more than doubling while you were doom-scrolling election drama. And while you watched Bitcoin wobble around 60K, global listed boring shipping and port stocks have quietly thrown off 6 to 12% dividend yields and used the last few years to pay down debt and stack cash. Here's the problem. Your retirement plan still worships the S&P 500 like it's a religion. You're overexposed to US tech giants and underexposed to the plumbing of the world economy. Ships, ports, freight routes, and the people who tax every container that moves. Iran's $40 billion is not just a local party. It rewires risk premiums across the most important choke point on Earth, Hormuz, where roughly a fifth of global oil and large LNG flows squeeze through a waterway barely 21 miles wide at its narrowest. Every tanker that goes through pays someone, and those someones are often public companies whose tickers you've never bothered to read. Now layer in today's circus. Supreme Court slaps down thousands of Roundup cancer suits. That's a direct relief valve on a giant US industrial name that feeds, literally, into shipping volumes. Less legal overhang, more predictable capex, more fertilizer, more grain moving across oceans. A federal judge blocks Trump's executive order for a federal voter list. Conclusion: US political risk remains a slow, grinding soap opera, not a sudden regime change. Legal chaos at home, but ships still leave ports on time because bills of lading do not care about your yard signs. Lionel Richie bails mid-show from illness. That's your metaphor. Idolized legacy acts fade. Cash flow machines you never see. Container ships, oil tankers, bulk carriers keep performing every single day on the dullest stage, the open ocean. Here's what those three signals scream when you stop being distracted. 1. Choke point risk is being repriced, not removed. Reopening Hormuz with cooperation means less war premium today, but more volume at stake the next time something snaps. Insurers, shippers, and traders bake that into freight rates. Volatility is a feature, not a bug. 2. Freight demand is sticky as hell. Court drama, elections, celebrity meltdowns, none of that stops wheat, iron ore, and LNG. If anything, fiscal stimulus and political bribes to voters usually pump more stuff through ports, not less. 3. Shipping as an asset class lives in a different universe from your tech-heavy index fund.
Does what you just heard make you want to learn more, to dig deeper, to ask better questions? That curiosity is exactly what separates people who understand finance from those who don't. Most people stop at the surface. You're going further. Let's continue.
Cyclical? Brutally. But when the cycle lines up with tight capacity and normalized routes, the cash gushes. Dividends in this sector don't care about your feelings. They care about day rates. Here's the mechanism nobody teaches you. A small change in geopolitics at a choke point massively amplifies through freight pricing. Reopen Hormuz with friendlier terms, insurance premia dip, traffic rises, ton miles go up. That means more revenue per ship if capacity stays tight. A single big accident or political flare-up, risk premia shoot up, spot rates spike, and those same companies suddenly swim in free cash flow. Either way, the bottleneck tax gets collected by people who own the steel and the terminals, not by your S&P 500 index fund that's 30% mega-cap US tech. So what do you actually do with this? This is not financial advice, but it is the truth. First, stop pretending global exposure through the S&P is enough. That's US corporate exposure selling globally, not direct exposure to the toll collectors of world trade. If 20% of oil and a fat slice of global goods pass through a few straits and ports, your portfolio should know the names of at least a handful of the companies sitting on those straits and ports. Second, learn one new ticker this week in shipping or ports. Not to ape in, but to understand the cash logic. Look for three things: low debt after recent years of deleveraging, management actually returning cash via dividends or buybacks, and exposure to key routes like Hormuz, Suez, or major container hubs in Asia and Europe. You're hunting for boring toll road on water, not lottery tickets. Third, build a small real-world plumbing sleeve in your watch list or paper portfolio. Shipping, ports, maybe an ETF tied to freight or logistics. Track it against your beloved index fund for a year. See which one benefits more when geopolitics jacks freight rates or when global trade ramps back up. You're not trying to predict the next war headline. You're pricing who gets paid every time someone else panics. Your retirement is not saved by vibes, presidents, or celebrity tours. It's saved by owning the things that get paid when the world has no choice but to keep moving cargo. 3 takeaways. 1. Chokepoints like Hormuz are leveraged profit engines, not just war maps. 2. Shipping and port stocks quietly tax global trade through freight and fees. 3. Adding a tiny slice of this ocean toll exposure can make your retirement less fragile to U.S. tech mood swings. You pick. Keep trusting that one overstuffed index, or start learning how the world's real cash registers, ships and ports, actually work. Hawk, retirement is now a knife fight, and boring bonds just lost. This is not financial advice. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and check the links in the first comment below.
That's it for today on Dr. Fred Markets. I hope this gave you clarity and a new perspective. Remember, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If you found this useful, subscribe. It's free and it helps the channel grow. Find me on the blog at drfredmarkets.com and join the newsletter via the link in bio. I'm Dr. Fred Markets. See you in the next one.